Welcome to the first episode of Crush Your Quota. Today we're going to be talking with a 9-year sales veteran and a Grant Cardone licensee, Jake Martincic. Jake, great to have you on the show.
I appreciate you invite me on here, Russ.
Awesome. Okay, so this is going to be a really quick, high-speed, 15-minute turnaround where we're going to talk about Jake, Grant Cardone, everything he's doing for outreach, ask him what he wants to change. Then we're going to dive into data and intent across the internet and then empower him with a sales strategy to go out and I was going to say kick ass, if I could say that.
Hey, let's do
it. So to get started, Jake, welcome. Are you ready to crush your quota?
You know it, Russ.
Awesome. Then to start
Absolutely.
off, can you introduce who Grant Cardone is and the product you're selling?
Absolutely. So if you aren't familiar with Grant Cardone, he's a globally recognized sales trainer of 30 years. So that's how he got his career started off. He's since ventured in more recently, like in the last 10, 15 years, best-selling author, 21 books and business programs, and he's a real estate mogul. So a lot of people know him for that. He's got almost $2 billion in assets under management. So he invests into multifamily apartment complexes. So what he's done with his 30-year career, I'll be quick, Ross. I'll be quick.
Okay. I'm gonna cut you off.
He built a virtual training platform based off of, he was doing seminars. He put all of his material together in one online platform. And that's what got me started. And that's what I'm offering.
Gotcha. So it's an online training platform for sales. Is that correct? Or who is the ultimate person that this is serving?
No, exactly. The main buyer of this or beneficiary would be a salesperson. Somebody in any type of sales role, doesn't matter if it's outbound sales, inbound sales, face-to-face, phone. It makes no difference. This is pure selling. This is industry agnostic.
Gotcha. And for the premise of your sales campaign, what are the parameters that you're looking for on top of that so you can laser focus your campaign? Like United States, other demographics, etc.
For sure. It's in the U.S. only. He sells this globally. I just don't like dealing with different currencies. So for my personal business and being a licensee, I can kind of create my own business. I'm geared towards the U.S. only. Any demographic, doesn't matter even the company size. This is pure sales training, and sales is something that's intertwined in everything we do in business and personal life.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about who exactly, how many of these have you sold? You don't have to go into like the exact numbers, but when you did sell it, like who, is this an event? Is it an online platform? Because I saw there was like events and conferences, and then there was the online platform. What was the exact person who you sold this to, and what was their role?
So far, it's just been sales reps.
Okay.
So individual sales reps that I've worked with, and I've started doing this only the beginning of this year. So we're about 8 months in to myself being on Cardone University, and I've had success. My employees and colleagues, they've seen the success themselves. Like, let me check this out. So they'll get on it.
Okay, so I'm a salesperson.
Yeah.
And I just joined a sales job and I've never done this before. What are you telling me? What are you teaching me? What are you currently doing with your sales strategy and sales pitch?
No, it's a great question, Brian. And there's multiple sections within this, and it's kind of built out. It's called Cardone University for a reason. So it's built out into 4 different sections. Think of it as freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. So everybody coming in, whether you're brand new to selling, so there's a new hire section, or if you've been doing this for 30 years plus, you're going to get something out of the initial sections, which are sales fundamentals, understanding buyer psychology in the sales process. That mainly focuses on attitude, greeting, some objection handling, but also just the process of what does the sales cycle look like. So that's where everybody's going to start, no matter what role, and then it just gets deeper from there.
Before the show, you told us that you were looking to hire a videographer, social media marketer. In order to teach these things that are available in the course, is your current strategy to create small snippets of them, teach small amounts, and then upsell to the course? Or what is your current strategy to make people aware of what you were just talking about?
Yeah, so that's a big part of the marketing that I want to do. I'm not great in media. I can get on camera and I can do it, but the whole back end, it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of skill involved. I'm not that creative thinker that can put these things together and make them look nice. It looks jumbled when I do it, but I can get on the camera. So I need to hire that a videographer, somebody to work with on social media, not only for just video, but for marketing in general. And then the goal is to scale that to a level where, I mean, COVID messed up a lot of things, but I do have the ability also to sell and deliver grants boot camps. And that can be done virtual, that can be done in person, but that's another reason why I want the videographer and the marketing to drive attendance to that, obviously.
Gotcha.
So do you have an LTV of the current client class or client, or an ACV of per sale? Is this a $1,000 a month product? Is it a $10,000 a year product? How does that work?
That's a great question. So there's two different versions of Cardone University. There's a version for corporations and there's a version for individuals. I've been on the individual program so far. I can set people up with a demo account for corporations. The main difference, like all the selling courses are the same.
Yeah.
For businesses, there's an accountability and reporting piece. So management can go in and make sure their employees are signing in, doing the training, and passing the training. Because there's quizzes at the end of each video lesson. There's over 1,500 video lessons on sales, 1,500 different topics.
So do you want to sell more corporate accounts or more individuals?
Both.
Okay.
I mean, well, everybody's
going to two completely different strategies, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. So we have to pick one.
If we're going to pick one, I want to sell it to businesses because one sale is going to help more people.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So we have a training program, a sales training program that we want to sell to businesses to help their sales team, 10X. You see that on your hat?
Oh yeah.
10X their strategy. Okay. I'm ready, Ross, if you're ready.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's dive in.
All right. So you have a very large audience. Just using some numbers in the background in the database while you were talking, there's about 8 million salespeople in the United States. And there's a lot, like every single, from a retail salesperson to the head of sales, CRO, there's every flavor in between. So a lot of people in the country are doing sales. That's a very large percentage of a demographic. So you have a hugely wide type of angle. Now, as a salesperson in general, you need to think about like one-on-one prospecting. A lot of the stuff that you're talking about actually would be for the individual program. So when you're doing marketing, you're doing social media, you're creating a community around yourself. That's when you're going through what I call the prosumer, right? And a prosumer is somebody that like wants to be their own self-entrepreneur and kind of get into that space. Maybe they're an owner operator of a like a laundry store or a dry cleaner, and they want to increase their sales. But what we're talking about and what we're that's a whole different strategy. We're going to talk about the prospecting and go-to-market strategy of how you hit a sales director, how you hit somebody in charge of sales or a sales leader at a company, right? Yeah. So there's a couple of different kind of interesting competitors in this market already, right? So and the reason why when you talk about a competitor is not to like kind of like understand, it's more about understanding the competition, and then you can kind of use what they're doing. There's a company called Pre-Hired, which I think is a really interesting, similar type of thing in the market. And then they go with a completely different business model. What they do is they say, hey, salesperson, you're going to come on board. We're going to cut all this sales training for free. And then over the course of the next 3 years, you're going to pay us $30,000 if you get a job. If you don't get a job, then, you don't pay us anything. So I think, and they have like a lot of training, a lot of like inbound lead magnets. And that's when you're talking about large marketing operations. But for you, Jake, what I think with the best strategy on a one-on-one individual basis is prospecting a couple different titles at companies where the sales team and the sales director and the sales leadership is brand new. So you're not going to be at, one person sales team. This isn't going to go for it. So, and when you get to like 40 or 50, that's kind of like processes are already baked. So you're looking for sales teams that have maybe about 10 to 20 people sales teams, and the sales leader is coming in. And so what I recommend to do is find those individuals, sales directors, sales team leads, sales manager. Sometimes they're called CROs when they get a little bit kind of bloated, and find these individuals who have just came into the job and they're looking for something new or a playbook or a play strategy so that they can excel. So what we found was that some of the best times to prospect somebody or have them have the attention, the interest, the desire, and the ability to take action on a new product or service is right when they change their role, right?
Yep.
And so what we're going to do is give you like, we'll figure out how many there are, but like somewhere between like 100 and 500 leads. 30 to 40% of the time, they're going to have a phone number. 60 to 70% of the time, they're going to have an email. But to be really straightforward, the way that we're having the best success in this space is connecting to people directly on LinkedIn and then starting a conversation around messaging to them and just asking questions around what are your challenges? What are your goals with this new role, right? Because they're either transferring or making a lateral move from company A to company B where they already were a sales leader and they're bringing a playbook, or they weren't, right? Maybe they were account executive, the best salesperson, the individual contributor at their current place. And now they're moving into a sales role in which they may not know how to manage a team, right? So maybe it's like by trying to sell the individual, you'll also give them the opportunity to spread it to their whole entire team. And then you can do like a land and expand model with that. So talk to the individual, ask them what kind of playbooks that they're using, what kind of coaching that they're using, what's their sales philosophy. And if they have like a really ingrained sales philosophy, they may not be a fit. But if you want to have them kind of apply a sales philosophy to the team that's going to work, like Grant Cardone University sounds like it could be a really good opportunity.
Yeah. No, yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay. So with like 4 minutes left, we have LinkedIn outreach, we have email outreach. Should we talk about landing pages or messaging or initial videos that should be made?
See, that's where you kind of get into, I mean, if we're talking about the individual, maybe I'll bring this up in, I don't know if we have enough time to bring it up, but there's this thing called solo leads. It reminds me very, very familiar to the ClickFunnels community. And there's this idea, if you're going after the individual, I think landing pages make a lot of sense. Videos make a lot of sense. One-on-one tools like Loom, BombBomb Video, like these are like very personalized tools that if you want to like personalize your message to the sales leaders and sales directors directly, I think you could also talk about the LinkedIn Open Graph Hack, right? If you want to talk about that with a couple minutes left, I'm going to bring up the solo leads with Yudi.
Okay, so just as far as LinkedIn goes, on your website, we do it in React or Vue or something like that. You can put an open graph, which is an image that pops up on LinkedIn when you put a URL to your site. We made it so that you can take a URL and put someone's name at the end of it, and then it pops up with an image with that person's name in it using a technology called niftyimages.com. So that when you send a link to someone on LinkedIn one-on-one, you can say, hey person, I made this just for you. And then it shows your website with their name already in it so that they click on it and they're like, wow, this person put a lot of effort into making this just for me. Then when they click on it, it takes that URL parameter, which is the name at the end of it. And wherever you send them to, you can have the page be like, Jake, welcome to my website, et cetera, because you already know who they are. I use just a Google Sheet, and then I will create, I'll take what the LinkedIn profile is, add their name to it, go all the way down, and then just click on the links one after another, copy in the URL to the site I want them to go to with their name on it one after another, which makes it very fast to do personalized websites.
Okay, here's an example.
Perfect.
Right here. Can you see the screen?
Yep, can see it.
Okay, cool. So we created this thing called, like Ross was saying, Nifty Images, and now it's a personalized landing page and then dynamically represents it to the person. So that's something that we saw like a lot of good positive response. You can do it manually and spin up a whole bunch of pages, like kind of like once you have like a templated landing page done, or you can use something like Nifty Image, and then we put the person's name in there as well. So we can do really any person's name at all as well. And that's one thing that we kind of found that's going to, when you kind of get into the website, right, is going to personalization is something that's super important. The other thing, this is called Udemy or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it, but essentially if you're going for the individual, they have people that are like work from home, learning to try to like work from home and become sales, like entrepreneurs like themselves. So these individuals on this platform, they'll send out 5,000 emails, 10,000 emails to their list of people that want like sales opportunities for work from home opportunities. And so if you're going after the individual, this one's really good. where you can have, once you have a landing page, you only pay per click. So you'll play anywhere from 50 cents per click to 90 cents per click. And what it essentially happens is these are individuals that are already looking for new opportunities to work from home and sell from home, or, you know, take on courses or better themselves as a at-home entrepreneur. I know
Awesome,
people that
guys.
have had success with this.
That's it. It's been 15 minutes. We got to go. Jake, you ready to crush your quota? You got enough information?
I'm ready. This has been awesome.
All right. So Jake, we're going to do the data drop. And in 1 month, you come back, you can tell us like for a minute or two about how it was useful, how it was successful, or what you learned. How does that sound?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome.